Hello and welcome. So here we're going to see how to install CCS, which is Code Composer Studio IDE. So please go to the ti.com /tools tool /cc studio, and you should get along here where you have downloads. So click on download options and then click the appropriate on-demand or single file installers depending on your operating system. So I'm actually using Mac operating system, and so hence I've actually already downloaded the offline version of it, and as you can see I have double clicked on it, and here is your setup file, and then you can see that yes, I want to open, and we'll follow the steps that are prompted. Yep, I want to do a setup. Say yes, accept, agreement. It's also worth to register with ti.com with an email address, specifically with the UNLV email address or the Rebel email address, so that if you have to download any other libraries, it becomes convenient. So currently we are in version 10.4, so I'm just going to install in its default location. So if you're using Windows or Linux, so you would be prompted and just go to the default location and have it installed. Okay, so click on custom installation, and over here as you can see we're not going to install all microcontroller support. We're simply going to have this, which is where we have CC1051 comes in that category, and then that's our TIVA-C category, right? So the rest we are not interested. Go ahead, again just leave it as your default spectrum. So this is the one that is supported by all your TI launchpads, and if you're ever going to use an external debugger, then you might want to select that. Alright, so yep, so we're not using any of those launchpads. Okay, next, and no proxy, and wait for the installation to download and install. So I'm probably going to pause the recording, and I will resume when we have options. So it's still installing. So it's still installing and setting it up. As you can see, it's now creating an installer. So, and there you go. So it's completed. The installation says finished. Alright, and has created a desktop. Let me see. Yep, so looks good. Let's stop this and see if things are okay. So I'm actually going to use the default workspace as mentioned, so all your projects are going to be in this folder. So once you have compiled everything, make sure it's working. Copy, first clean it up, clean up the project, then copy the files into a separate folder, which is going to be your local GitHub repository, and then try to sync it or upload it to your private GitHub that you're going to share with me. Okay, so that would be the process. So make sure that you have a workspace, then you have a space where you have a finished file, and you're going to capture the screenshots, put it on a document, and then put that document and the video link of the text file in that particular folder. So it's going to be a different folder, which is going to be a local repository which is a mirror of your online repository. Okay, so we're going to say, let's say launch it. Should have done that as I kept talking, because it takes a few tens of seconds to launch it. And so once you've done, so I think we don't need that anymore. So we have done, we should be able to go to your Resource Explorer. Okay, there you go. So we're up and good. And the first thing you want to do is look at your Resource Explorer, and somewhere down here it's going to be right. So we're gonna actually use this, which is simple link. That's the current version, right? So we are actually going to hit this and install that, right? So it's going to say I need to actually use all this. Say yep, and let's go to the default. I've read and agreed it, and now it's basically, you can see it's actually will be downloading and installing this entire package. So that's one package you need to install. Then come down here, and we're going to hit this guy over here and say install for that. That's the only package, and say I have. So again, that's going to be installed, and you're also going to install this. Hit install, and so this is very important over here. So this is, as you can see, it's going to be a newer version of this that's going to be installed, and at the same time this package TI RTOS for Tiva C requires an older version of this tool. So you basically will need to install both versions, and then I will, as we go, we would actually tell you how to install or choose between those two versions. Okay, all right. So therefore you can see that's installed, and coming up to this, I think over here it's still trying to install. Yep, you're gonna say install that. Yeah, it's also good to actually install them one at a time. I've actually, because of the demo, I'm actually trying to install it all at once. But what I would recommend is I would go from here, try to install this, and then TI RTOS, and then go into the simple link to install that. I think that's still getting downloaded and installed, and once that is done, so then you should be able to just go to, let's say, this Resource Explorer, and okay, so let's say since this is installed, so then go to examples, and then pick up your launchpad, which is going to be the 1352 extra, and then you're going to go into some simple demos like this, and you should be able to say I'm going to go to this RTIOS. We're going to use that compiler, and you can hit on this and say you can import it directly. Okay, so that's pretty much what is required as far as the installation is concerned. So again, just to recap, just make sure that you have installed, so you can see that you have installed a simple link CC10X2, then you're actually installing the TI RTOS for Tiva C, and then the TM4C Cortex. Okay, so these are the components that you got to make sure that that is installed. And then when you actually are rebooting, you got to make sure that all of them, you have a green tick marks next to the ones that you have actually installed. Okay, thank you.